Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm audible to you guys, right? Right. So in our previous semester, what you have learned is all about object-oriented programming with C++. Right? So you already know what are the advantages of C++, why C++ has been developed, why? Because we need to overcome disadvantage of C language, because C language was the procedure-oriented language. And object-oriented means we are more focused on our data instead of only functions. Though in object-oriented programming also we are having functions, right? But we are not more focused on that. Now we need to think about data, because in C language, if you have observed, my data was global, right? Global data could be accessed by anyone from anywhere. They can manipulate those data, they can share those data. So my data was not secured in C language. That is why we need something where my data should be protected, and that we are having in object-oriented programming. So C++ was again object-oriented programming language, and now in this semester what we are going to learn, that is object-oriented programming but with Java. You have already learned C++, now you will learn Java. So as you know, it is again an object-oriented programming language. So all the concept like class, then object, abstraction, encapsulation, then polymorphism, inheritance, everything is still here, right, in Java. Yes, Shekhar, you are asking something? Yes? Any question? Shekhar? Viswas? Yes, dear. Ask. Once I'll finish the session, you can ask me the question. What is the theme? I mean, you are talking about the syllabus and all, so that we will discuss at the time of theory. But right now we are having lab, right? So in lab session, I'll only discuss about what we are going to do in the practicals and what we have already done in C++, right? The whole the teaching scheme, what would be the units, everything that I'll explain, but at the time of your very first lecture. Okay, I hope you don't have any question now. Yeah. Right. So in object-oriented programming language, you have already seen what is class, what is object and all. So the all that features already we are having in Java. But Java would be having some more features than C++. Okay, so C language was there. Some of the disadvantage would be there, that it is only functions oriented. We don't have any thing like encapsulation, because the encapsulation means we are protecting our data, right? And the best example you can say, that is class. Class is an example of encapsulation, right? Why? Because you are wrapping up your data and member functions together in a single unit, right? So in that way, you are protecting your data from outside of world, right? So nobody can directly access your data without your permission. So that is your class. So in general terms also, you can simply understand what is capsule in medical term, right? So the capsule would be only cover at the outer side, but the actual medicine will be there inside of that capsule, right? So it's just protecting the original content. So the same thing what we are doing in a class, right? So that is again known as encapsulation. So in that way, you can remember this thing. Okay, right. So many things we have seen in C++, right? And now we are going to develop some new things even in Java, right? But almost concept would be same. So I hope you are comfortable with C++ language. See, why C++ was developed? Because there are so many disadvantages of C language and you need to overcome those disadvantages. That is why development of C++ has occurred. Right? Who has developed this language? If anybody knows, C++. Yeah, it's Bjarne Stroustrup. Yeah, correct. So, and now the Java has been developed not to overcome disadvantage of C++. The very first thing you have to remember, right? Because we have not developed Java because we were having some disadvantage of C++. No, it is just extended version of C++ that you can say, right? Because all the features are almost same except some of the concept, right? That we are going to learn, of course, in Java, right? But almost everything will remain same till inheritance, right? Over there also we were having the exception handling and all. Here in Java also we are having exception handling. So almost your half of the syllabus are totally dependent on object oriented pure concept which you have learned in C++. Okay, right. So now you already know how you can write any C++ program to just print hello world, right? So what I need to do, first I'll save the program, right? So the color code will be here and you will be more comfortable with that. So I'm giving the name over here, that is example1.cpp, right? Because this is what I'm showing you, the C++ program where you can print hello world. The same way I'll show you how you can write a very first program in Java to print hello world again. Okay. I hope my screen is visible to you guys, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, okay. So here a very first thing that what you will do is hash include. So hash include, why you are writing? Because some of the keywords or some of the class definitions or some of the object definitions are already given in the library. So you are just including those libraries into your program, right? This is very similar to, you can say, API, or you can say the frameworks. Why? Because you just need to develop your program, which is the necessary one. Rest of all the things are already created for you and you can only use it, right? So here IOStream, that is your library, what you used to include in C++, right? And now what you will do using namespace, right? So using namespace standard, so this is what you are including, and then you are having integer main, and you used to return something, right? Because your main is having return type as an integer. That is it. Okay, so in integer main, what you are writing? Cout, because you want to print hello world on your screen, on output screen. So I'm writing hello world, and that's it, right? So I'll run this program. Maybe it will take some time, so just wait for a while. Yeah. So here the hello world will be on your output screen. This is what we have done in our previous semester. Okay. So here I'm closing now the C++ because you guys already know very well what is C++, right? Hopefully. So now we will talk about something very basic things, right? Because we just need to do one program, a very first program of your Java, and we are still having time to discuss some important things about computer. So if somebody will ask what is computer, what do you use to answer at that time? What do you mean by computer? Anyone? Yes. Any simple answer. What do you mean by computer? Yeah, great, great. In childhood, we used to know a machine which perform mathematical operation. Yes, true, correct. So the computer, you can say it's an electronic device which will store and process your data, something like that. Yeah, and here, yeah, nowadays we are having so many definitions. But in a simple definition, if we can say, that is known as electronic device which will store and process your data. Now, computer will be divided again in two parts. So as you know, right, the software and hardware. If we will talk about hardware, you can consider, I mean, a main heart, or you can say a soul of computer, that is CPU, right? Central processing unit, which would be having all the logical operations or any arithmetic operations, right? So once you are giving input, it will automatically process the data according to your requirement, and finally it will give you the output, right? This is what we know already, right? So central processing unit, then you can say memory, then you can say storage devices, then input device, output device, communication devices. These many things we can consider in hardware. Now, what do you mean by console input and output device? Console, input and output device. What do you mean by that? Not exactly, because we are talking about hardware right now. Right? So that OS will be there in software, right? Yeah. Yeah, but the console input and output, yeah, you are correct, Shaker, that mouse is an input device, right? But what we are saying is, what would be the console input? Input and output device means, in general, what you are using as a input and what you are using as an output. So generally, keyboard, that would be our input device, console input, and your monitor screen, that will be your output device. Because whenever, see, from C language, if you remember, every time you are writing scanf, because you want to fetch some data from the user, right? So whenever you are writing scanf, at that time, at the run time, you are giving input as end user, yes or no, right? You used to give the value of A, B, C, fine. So whatever the value you are giving, that is from keyboard, right? So that is your console input device. And at the last, where you can see your output on the monitor screen, of course, right? So monitor screen, that would be your console output device. So input and output, right? Otherwise, mouse, keyboard, then you would be having joystick and scanner, so many input devices, and then printer, and that many output devices we are having. So that is fine. Okay. So how you are storing your data? How you are storing your data? In which unit you are storing your data? In memory. Anyone? You need to describe how you are storing your data. Anyone? Yeah, what I'm saying is, if I'm storing my data on memory, which unit will be there to measure how much data I have stored? So that is bits and bytes, right? Through the bits and bytes, you are storing your data, right? 8-bit data, or you can say 1 byte data or something like that, right? So bits and bytes, they are the units how you can say that this many kilobytes you are having, or megabytes you are having, gigabyte and the terabyte, right? So that is all about bit and bytes. Then it will come as a memory. What do you mean by memory? Can anyone tell me this? What do you mean by memory? Or I'll ask main memory. Yes, main memory. Okay, fine. So in your mobile phone, okay, suppose you all are using smartphones, right, nowadays. So in your smartphone, what would be your RAM? What would be the configuration of your mobile? In that it will include that 2 GB RAM or 4 GB RAM or something like this. So that RAM is what? Yeah, that is known as main memory, correct? Right? And you would be having your phone device, I mean phone storage or external storage. They all are your storage devices, right? Because phone can even store your data, external SD card can even store your data, and so many things. But here your RAM is important. Why? Because that is known as your main memory. Now what would be the task of this main memory? What it will do actually? Yeah, this RAM and ROM, there are so many, I mean, different categories will be there, but right now we are interested in RAM only. ROM would be somehow different, right? It can store the data, but permanently, not temporarily, right? ROM. So I'm only interested right now in RAM. Yeah, it will process the data. See, because it's a memory. Memory is only for storing the data. So how main memory will come in picture? Yes, anyone? Okay. So whenever, yeah, to hold the data which is currently in processing. Yes, correct. So if your mobile phone is having 50s of the applications, say suppose, right? And you are opening right now 15 to 20 applications together in your phone, right? So that all the applications will be there in your main memory. It will be loaded over there, right? So many of the times it will happen that if you are having only 2 GB RAM or some limited RAM, right? So at that time your mobile will start getting hang. So what you will do, you will close your applications which you are not using, right? So what it means, it will simply unload your those applications which you are not using right now, right? So your main memory will become free, right? So that is only your main memory. Main memory will be there in picture whenever your application is in running mode, right? Whenever it is in a running mode. So it is correct that to hold the data which is currently in processing. So fine, correct, good. Okay. So this is the simple terms what we have discussed, right? And into this communication devices, you can see that dial-up connections or modems or Wi-Fi's or that many things you can include in communication devices, right? So now, so this is what we already know about the hardware. Now we are talking about the software. Software will be categorized in again 3 different categories, like system software, then the application software, and utility software. what will comes under the system software that one person has written already before, that OS, right? So the operating system will be the part of your system software. Why? Because if you wish to use any of the applications in your computer, first thing that you need to install operating system. Then and only then you can do your further work, right? So that you already know. Okay. Then application software. So the application means it is dedicated for one task, you can say, right? Any particular task, they say, suppose you are exploring any applications related to traveling, you are exploring any applications related to restaurant or something like that, or food related, then some of the applications you'll be having for the shopping, right? So in that category you will be having lot many applications for the specific purpose. Yes, correct, right? So they all comes under this category, application software. Okay. And the last one, third one, that is utility. What will be a part of this utility software? Can anyone? Yes, utility. So you can see that any antiviruses, they will comes under this category, utility software, right? Because they would be having that license and all, right? So those kind of softwares will come under this category. Okay, fine. Yeah, most of the time we use it to analyze the computer. Yeah, so that what I say. Yeah, correct. So here you can see that software, that what we have seen already: system software, application software, utility software. And here in hardware, CPU, main memory, storage devices, that could be, I mean, your magnetic disk or your hard disk or any storage devices, they will comes under this: CD, floppy, right? DVDs, anything, your pen drives, so many things, right? And the input devices, output devices, and communication devices. Now the next thing is what? That is the
Excuse
programming
me, ma'am.
language. Excuse me, ma'am. Yes, yes.
What does mean exactly being a
What does
software
mean
engineer?
exactly being a software engineer? Sorry, just pardon your question.
What does mean exactly being a software engineer?
System, you can write down your simple question on the chat if it is possible. Just that word, what exactly you want to know. Yeah, that what I said, Matthew. The system softwares are operating systems like Windows or Mac or Linux, Ubuntu, whatever you say. They are known as system softwares. Yes, yes, correct. So in system software, it would be your operating system only, because once you will load your operating system, one you will install your operating system, then and only then the other works will happen, right? Yes, Ali, you are writing or not your question? So that is about the system software, right? Okay. Meanwhile, I'll simply continue. Then I'll give the answer once you will write down into the chat. Okay. Now the programming language. You already know your programming language are divided into three categories, right? A high level language, assembly level language, and low level language. Now, what we have seen in our previous semester also, that is high level language, means C++. And again, we are going to see Java. That is again high level language, okay? Then you are having assembly level language. Because see, computer will only understand low level language, right? Because computer don't know what you are writing in English kind of statement. Because computer only understand the language of zeros and ones, which is known as binary level language, or you can say machine level language, or you can say low level language, one in the same, right? So ultimately, if you are writing any language, any program in high level or assembly level, ultimately you need to convert this both the languages into low level language. So this is what your task, because computer don't understand any of this language except low level, right? So if there is a high level language, say suppose it's Java or it's C++, I'm writing any of the program, but computer don't understand it. So what we need to do, there is a task of compiler, because compiler will do this translation of your high level to low level language, right? And finally that language will be converted into low level. Computer will understand it, computer will ask for the input, you will give the input, then it will simply process your data according to your requirement, and finally it will give you the output in binary language, and then it will be again translated into English kind of statement, so at least we can understand, right? So this is what the exact scenario what will happen. Okay, so here the task of compiler will be there, which will convert high level to low level, or you can say assembler will do from assembly level to low level, right? So this is what the task. And here, instead of compiler, you can even use interpreter. So what is the simple difference between compiler and interpreter? If you wish to compile, if you wish to use compiler, compiler will take the whole code together and then it will compile the data and finally convert it into the low level. And if it is interpreter, it will take line by line code and then finally it will convert into low level language. This is what we already know, right? I hope it is going well. Yeah, being a software engineer, please could you explain that? Um, I mean, what you are exactly asking that I don't know. I mean, being a software engineer, please could you explain that, please? I mean, I haven't said anything about the software engineer. We are just discussing the different components of a computer. Say suppose it's a software or it would be the hardware, right? If it is a software, there could be system software or application software or utility software. So this is what we have discussed. So what else you want to know, Ali? Ali, so
Yes, ma'am. I you are,
yes,
I
Ali.
say what really mean being a engineer. I want to know about that.
Your voice is breaking at my side, at least. Yes, Ali.
Yes. Can you hear me, ma'am? Please.
Yeah.
What I want to know is being a software engineer. What it really means. If I wanted to be a software engineer, what's the requirement? What I must do?
Okay. Fine. Now I'm simply getting your question. Okay. So if you want to become a software engineer, right? So you at least have interest in writing a code, right? And there would be a different you can say the categories where you are interested. Say suppose it is not like that. If you are a software engineer, you won't get the job if you don't know how to code. No. If you are interested in database, right, so you can even become a data administrator, or that kind of job you can get, right? You can even get the job on Oracle, right? Because it's purely based on your queries, right? Database. Then another thing, if you know how to code, if you are interested in coding, then you will be having a job scope like any junior programmer, then senior programmer, then the project manager. So many posts will be there, right? If you don't want to code at all, right, you can even become the tester. Over there in this testing, you at least know some piece of code, not exactly a full of coding, right? You would be having some of the frameworks and you just need to code little, Okay, that also you can do. Or even you are interested in big data or such kind of branches, or in machine learning, or in neural network, or you can say the artificial intelligence. So even for that also you are having the different jobs, and for that most required language is Python nowadays. So this is, I hope I have given you the satisfactory answer.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Be grateful for thoughtfulness.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yep, yep. Well, fine. Yeah, even game developing, that is also again, I mean, a good task to do. So, okay, fine. So we'll continue with our previous topic. Otherwise, we will not be able to finish it. Okay. Now the popularly high-level languages, you can say it's ADA, Basic, C, C++, C Sharp, COBOL, Fortran, Java, Pascal, Python, Visual Basic. So many languages are there, right? We have already learned two languages, that is C and C++, and now we are going to learn in this semester, that is Java, which is the most important language in terms of your placement. Because whenever you will go to any of the company for interview, there would be more than 50% of the questions from Java only. That is for sure, right? So this is very important subject. Now you'll ask that what is Java language specification? So the specification means nothing, your programming language, syntax and semantics. Say suppose if it is your C++ language, you have to write a C out, then left bitwise operator, and then you are writing something into double quotation. That will be printed on the output screen. So that is syntax, right? So same way Java will be having its own syntax and semantics, right? Then what do you mean by Java API? Many of the times you heard this thing, maybe or may not be. So API means nothing, it's application program interface, that is API. That is also known as library. It known as library, it means it contains all your predefined classes, interface, methods, and even objects, right? Which are the predefined one, and it is already developed one. So you can simply use it. Simple. Okay? And here in API, you will learn this Java SE, Java EE, and Java ME. Now, what do you mean by these three words? So, first of all, which software is required, that I'm telling you, right? Which software is required for Java programming? So, when you'll Google it, right, you just need to Google JDK software. JDK. Okay. So here, you simply need to search JDK download. Okay. And you will be able to have number of sites, and you can download it free of cost, right? No license or no cracks are required. At the very first, have you observed this Java SE? Have you seen this? And here you will be having so many different versions of JDK. So many versions. But no matter which version you are downloading, right? You can use any of the versions. Right? No change will be there for your outputs. Okay? And JDK means for Java Development Kit. Okay? Java Development Kit. So have you seen this Java SE? Then we will again continue with our slide. So here you can see what is Java SE. SE means nothing, it's standard edition. Standard edition, and here what we are doing a code, whatever we are developing our code, that is for the client side programming. Okay. Then there will be in your next semester, it is advanced Java. In advanced Java, you will be having Java EE. EE means enterprise edition. It's for server side programming. So server side plus client side, and you can make any, I mean, you can say any interactive websites even, right? So this both the subjects are very important, Java and Advanced Java, which you will learn in your next semester. And there is the third one, that is Java ME. ME means nothing for, it is known as micro edition. Micro edition is for mobile devices. Many of the times it is known as mobile edition also, but the actual name is micro edition, but it is used for the mobile devices, right? So I hope this thing is clear to you guys. Then, as I said, what is JDK? JDK is the software which is required for your Java programming. Okay, so it's known as Java Development Toolkit, or it's Java Development Kit. It already consists of separate programs, and that you can invoke through command line. And for developing and testing the Java program, say suppose, which editor you have used for C++? Do you know this thing, right? You already know this thing. What you have used for C++ editor, where you were writing your programs and you have run your programs. Which editor? It was the code blocks. Generally, maybe you have used this. Then they use C++, and many editors are there, but maybe you have used the code blocks. Okay. So same way for Java, you are having so many options. You can even write your program in Notepad. Okay, you can write your program in Notepad, but you just need to install JDK software. Okay, once the JDK will be installed, right? I'll show you. Here is my C drive, right? In this program files, there would be a folder Java. Once you will install your JDK, at that time, this will automatically be there in your C drive. Okay. Then here JDK 1.8.0, that was the version what I have installed. You can install any of the version, any version. Okay. And here you can see in bin, it would be having all the classes and the path for your compiler. And compiler needs whatever the basic requirements or those basic classes are already defined at this path till bin. Okay, C drive, then program files, then in that Java folder will be there automatically. You don't have to create it, right? Then in that JDK, and then it's bin. Till bin, you will be having there's all the developed classes. There's, you don't have to do, right? It's already made by the Java, right? And here you can even see the library and all. Everything is over here. Everything. Okay. So if I'm having one program which is there written in Notepad, because I'll show you what I'm having is, right? Here I'm having one program, right? I'll simply delete this and I'll show you. This is my program, example.java file. I've written this in simple Notepad, right? And now I need to run this program. Okay. So from where I'll run, because Notepad cannot run your program, right? Notepad is just text editor where you can write something, but it don't have any compiler or any supported software by its own. It is not having it. So how we will run our Java program? So for that, we can use command line argument, or you can use that command prompt, and from there you can run your Java program. You can easily run this. That's what they are saying in this. For that, we only need JDK. Okay. So JDK consists of a set of separate programs, right? and it is already developed and tested Java programs, right? It's a kind of your library only, right? You are just using those libraries into your program. That's it. So here I'm showing you how you will run the program. This is your CMD, right? The command prompt. In command prompt, if your computer is already having that JDK installed, right? When you will write Java and enter, at that time it will show you the whole list of different options. It will take some time. Okay, here, right? They will show you all the options if the JDK is installed. If right now you will try this, it will give you some error message maybe, right? Because your computer is not having JDK yet. That is why. Okay. And if here, see, for example, this is your command prompt, which really don't know where your compiler is, because you have only installed JDK, but JDK is where? I don't know the path. So for that you need to set the path, and you need to tell them my compiler and necessary files are lying on this path. So which path I have already shown to you? Do you remember? Just we have discussed, right? Till B, where your compiler is. Right? So you have to set this path, C drive, program file, so and so, and here in bin all the necessary definitions and developed classes are here. This is what you need to explain to command prompt. I have already set the path. How you need to set that, all the things I'll explain in your very next lab or lecture. Okay, don't worry about that. I'll show you how to set the path. Okay, right now I have already set the path. If I'll simply write the path, it will show you the path, and you can see over here, I mean, so many paths I have set, but for Java also there would be one path. Have you seen this? C drive, program files, Java, JDK, this version, and B. So my Java path is already set, but your computer is not having that path right now. Then whenever you will write Java C, at that time it will show you the error message like Java is not recognized, I mean Java C is not recognized as an internal or external command. But my computer is not showing that error message. Why? Because I have already set the path. That is why. Okay. But if your computer has not set the path yet, it will show you the error message over here. Whenever you will write Java C, C for compiler. Okay. Java C, C for compiler. Whenever you will write this Java C, at that time they will directly show you the error message. Instead of that, my computer is showing me all the different options of compiler. Okay, so it is fine. Now how I can run my program, because you are interested in that, right? Say suppose how I have written this program, that is not important right now because you don't know what is the syntax, right? So 1 or 2 lectures will be there at the first, and then only you will be able to understand. But you at least understand there would be one void main, right? So here in Java also I'm having one main method. From there only execution will get started, right? And here you already know what is print method, right? Either it is print f or something else. Print means it will show whatever you have written in between this double quotation, that will be printed on your output screen, right? So here I have written hello. So hello should be printed on my output screen. This is what my requirement, right? This should be happen. But how this will happen? So here I'm showing you, I'll go to the path where I have stored this program, where I have stored my program. So you can see in G drive, there is one folder Java. and in that I'm having my example.java file. Okay, so I'll directly go to my folder, that is cd java. So I've reached over there, and now I can compile. For compilation, I have to write Java C. C for compiler, because I want to compile my code, because computer don't know what is the high level language. Okay, so Java C example dot Java. When I'll do the enter, it will simply compile my code. When it will be compiled, again I'll be having this G drive and Java blink. Okay, once it will be compiled, at that time I'll again get this prompt. If there is no error, if there would be any kind of error, then list of the errors will be over here. Okay, so now my program is successfully compiled because I don't have any error and I directly get this prompt. Okay, now I want to run my program. First I have compiled, so I have written C. Now I want to only run my program, so I will not write this C. Instead of that, I'll only write Java and example, not even .java, and simple enter. It will show me whatever the desired output is. Hello. So can you see this? Via only Notepad, even you can run your programs via command prompt. You just need to give the direction of your compiler to command prompt that my compiler is in this folder. All the necessary supported files are lying over here. So I just need to set the path, and that's it. So this will work. But if you don't want such kind of command prompts and all, right? So another option is IDE. IDE means Integrated Development Environment. It is used for developing Java program quickly because this IDEs are having text editor, they are having compilers, they are having debuggers, online help, everything into one unit, and it is graphical user interface. So example of IDEs are NetBeans, Eclipse, and so many. So here for our semester, I am using NetBeans. Okay. So here is my NetBeans. You can see over here. You can simply do what? File, new project. So any of the project. Now by this project names, do you understand? This is for Java EE. So that is for the client server application. You don't want this. Then HTML5, then ME embedded means mobile edition, or you can say micro edition, right? For PHP, for C and C++. But right now I want only Java application. So I have to select only Java, Java application, next. And here I need to give the project name. Here I have given my project name as a demo. You can see over here, demo, right? And demo.java file is over here. Here it will automatically create your main class if you will tick this. If you will uncheck this, it will not create automatically. Okay, and then simply finish. But right now I have already created, so I'll open this only, demo.java file. So here you can see I'll be having a same program, and it will show me till this. It will show me till this. By default created. You don't have to write this public class demo, then public static void main and all. It will be created by default. You just need to add one line and your program is over. This is known as IDE, which is already having compiler and everything inbuilt, right? So you don't have to open the command prompt, you don't have to set the path and everything. You will simply go to the run file, it will run, and it will show me the output over here at this place. Once it will be compiled and run. So just wait for a while, because here the process is going on, you can see. Right? So once this process will be finished, here you can see the output, that is hello here. So have you seen? Here is my output hello, build successful. So my program has been compiled and run successfully. This is what the IDE, and if you don't have any NetBeans or anything, then also you can run your program without any IDEs. That is why I have shown you both the ways. I hope this session was important for you, beneficial for you, right? Fine, so that's all from my side. We will again see this thing. Don't worry if you don't know anything right now, okay? I'm just showing you how you can run the program. That's it. Fine, then you can please write down your enrollment numbers into the chat. Thank you all. See, that is totally depends on you. If here in Notepad, you can see it's a case sensitive. Here the S that you need, if you will do in a small case, it will show you an error. You need to write it in capital only. Same way for the class C would be small, and same way O will be small. So if any capital or small errors are there, then you have to solve it by your own. So in that way, IDEs are good because it will give you the structure almost. This will be created then automatically, right? So you don't have to worry about this part, only your code. And here you will get again the color coding, right? So that would be the beneficial one for you, right? Done. Once, if you have written your number, you may leave the meet. Thank you. Yes, CMD is only until GUI, right? If once you are having GUI, you are comfortable with GUI, then no need to go for CMD. Correct. Yep. If you have written your number, you may leave the meet. Thank you.